How are you doing? Hello, welcome to the Rock Out Loud podcast series. My name is Mark. I am joined as always by two things. Number one, my handy dandy clipboard. Number two, a very special guest. Today, I am joined by the one, the only, the incomparable keyboard player for a band here at Rock Out Loud that we will talk about in just a second. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nicholas Loro. Nick, welcome to the hot seat.
Thank you.
How's it feel being here? Being
Wonderful.
Podcasted.
Feels wonderful being here.
Wow. You know, I was this close to believing you. That's so cool. Brad, welcome. I discovered in a podcast I did earlier today, I have a thing for like bantering with my students. I love that. I love that that is a thing that can happen. Welcome to the show. So Nick, I alluded to you playing keyboard, so I kind of gave away the goose on what instrument you play. My bad. You're a member of a band here at Rock Out Loud. What is the name of your band?
The Foxtrot Fighters.
The Foxtrot Fighters. Awesome. Cool. So I guess a really good question to start with is this. You have played a lot of our shows here at Rock Out Loud. Do you know how many shows have you done with Rock Out Loud?
Probably like 4 or 5 maybe.
4 or 5 maybe, yeah. Do you remember what venues you've played?
Stone Pony.
For sure.
Salty's Beach Bar.
Rad.
Starland Ballroom.
Starland Ballroom. Did we ever get you to the bitter end?
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
Rad. Do you remember the song you played at the bitter end? I was like breaking my back trying to remember what this song was, and I can't remember it.
Bitter End.
Bitter End.
Wasn't that a band, right?
Was that a band one?
Yeah, it was a band one.
Oh, rad. Well, there it is. Cool. Did we say Stone Pony?
Yeah.
Rad. Cool. We didn't say the headliner.
Oh, Headliner.
Headliner. Cool. A lot of venues. 5. So, when we've played the Bitter End, when we've played the Starland Ballroom, when we've played the Stone Pony, those have kind of been school-affiliated programs, whereas Salty's and the Headliner, those were gigs. Those were like gigs the band went out and did. Can you please tell the people at home, what is the big difference between like a Rock Out Loud school-sponsored concert and a band gig?
So, a band gig is more like personalized. It feels more real, otherwise, compared to the school concert.
Can you elaborate on that?
The school concerts are basically for kids who want to play and get out there. But
Right.
band concerts are for people that enjoy it and want to show it to people and have a real experience.
Mm-hmm. Are there any differences in like the number of songs you play at the band gigs versus at the school-sponsored concerts?
Yeah, the band gigs you play like 4 or 5 songs opposed to just 1 or 2 from the school gigs.
Rad. So the band gigs are harder, I would say, probably, right?
Yeah.
What do you think, now here's, this is a tricky question. What do you think is more fun, the band gigs or the school-sponsored concerts? Like, they're both fun, obviously, but which one do we enjoy more?
Probably the band concerts.
Band concerts. Nice. So like when we go to like Salty's or the Headliner.
Yeah.
Rad. Follow-up question. Salty's or the Headliner? Which do we prefer more?
The Headliner.
The Headliner. Why do we prefer the Headliner more?
I don't know.
No? Me personally, I agree. I
Still
tend to
better.
prefer the Headliner. One thing I really like about Salty's is I like the aesthetic of like looking at the stage. You have those giant speakers. I think that's
Yeah.
really cool to like observe, you know what I mean? Like it's a cool look. But I like the overall ambiance of like the Headliner's space itself.
Yeah, it's very spacious.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Rad. So here's a follow-up question to the follow-up question. Bitter End, Starland Ballroom, Stone Pony. Between these 3 venues, what has been your favorite that you've played at?
Well, Starland Ballroom was really nice because it felt like big, but also during that I had some technical issues.
Oh yes, the great kerfuffle. I will say though, you persevered. Like that, you did not let that slow you down, and I think that is very, 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 very commendable. Like nobody was really like kind of thrown off or deterred by what was ultimately a technical mishap. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
That was really nice. And the band kind of like helped support each other too. That's one thing I like about when the bands play at the school-sponsored shows. It really gives all the other kids who are not in the band program, it gives them a look of like, oh, so sometimes something can go like wrong and it'll still be okay, you know?
Yeah.
Like the music will keep going, we'll be fine. So that's nice, that's cool. What has been your favorite song that you have played at either a school-sponsored concert or a gig?
Probably Don't Stop Me Now.
That's the right answer. Yeah, that's the right answer. It's just the most impressive song.
Yeah.
It's like literally one. I told somebody who was working here. They asked me like, "What is your band doing?" I was like, "Oh, we're probably gonna like open our set with Don't Stop Me Now." And they looked at me like I had 17 heads and a tail. They were like, "Are you serious?" I was like,
That might have been me, because that's not an easy song, and you guys pulled it off.
I was like, "You gotta trust me. Watch what happens." And you guys nailed it. I could have sworn I heard somebody nebulously in space going like, "That was amazing!" Like I couldn't think of who it was, but they were very clearly impressed. So rad, very nice. It's a great song. You do a really good job with it too, which is even better. So, what do you think has been the most formative experience you've had so far with music? At like Rockoutloud or otherwise?
Like the best experience?
Sure.
Depends.
Mm-hmm.
Because in certain experience, like for like my first band concert was like my first ever time playing at, and like a real experience. But there's many other opportunities. Like my first time playing Don't Stop Me Now at a venue was really nice because it felt impressive.
It was. Like, speaking of my capacity as somebody who was like sitting on stage, it was very impressive. It was a good time. And I may have maybe hurt my voice just a little tiny bit, kind of like screaming in celebration. Maybe, but who's to say? Wonderful. So, what is the difference, would you say, preparing for the band gigs versus preparing for like the school-sponsored concerts? What's like the big difference in preparation for those look like?
So school concerts, you mainly just have to work on one song.
Right.
So you don't really have to spend that much time working on that song because you have a good amount of period of time just to work on one song. Otherwise, the band concerts, I think you probably have a bit longer bit of time to practice those songs, but you have like 4 or 5 songs. So you have to practice multiple songs in preparation for those concerts.
Speaking of preparation for those concerts, do we have a gig coming up?
Yeah.
When?
October 21st, right?
It could be. I'm going to be so honest. I don't remember the date offhand.
I think, let me check, I'm checking right now.
I was really hoping you remembered.
Sometime in October.
It's October, I believe it's the 26th.
26th. You were close.
26th.
That was close.
Saturday.
Saturday the
At the
26th.
headline.
At the headliner. Your favorite venue. How interesting. Now, of the songs we're preparing for that concert with the Foxtrot Fighters, of the new ones, which song are you the most excited about?
I don't know.
Oh no, rad.
Man, I just like any songs that are mainly piano based because they allow me to actually play a real part.
Yeah, you have like a real part. We don't have to kind of like, let's figure out what we're doing here, make up one. I really like the organ part we have you playing in Helena.
Oh, yeah.
I like that a lot. I think it adds something really nice texturally to the song. That's cool. Little sneak peek, Helena, My Chemical Romance. If you like that song, come check it out. So long and good night. Rad. So, what do you want to do when you're older?
Probably I've always wanted to play more music, but I also wanted to go more into like probably college and stuff.
Rad.
Probably music as like a side gig would be a nice one.
This made Mike sad. Oh. That's something I really like about you. I find it to be very funny. Like somebody would be like, ah, and you just sit there like this. That's very funny. I like that. It amuses me. So, follow-up question. How is music at Rockoutloud different than like music at school?
Music at like my school.
Yeah.
So music at Rockoutloud is more like actual music. Music at school is basically just teaching kids what music is, as Rockoutloud is teaching like kids how really to be in depth into that music.
Rad. Neat. Here's a funny little anecdote before I get into this next question. Do you remember the first lesson we ever had together?
Not really.
So this is a long time ago. Like we're talking like maybe 2 years ago ish. I was covering for my very good friend and colleague, who was your coach at the time, Justin.
Yeah.
And Justin
I
had
remember.
communicated with me, hey, Nick wants to be a part of the concert. Take a look at the song list. Let me know what he's thinking about doing. And so I asked you, I was like, what do you want to do? And you were like, well, what are my options? And I looked at the song list and I gave you like this song, and World's Smallest Violin by AJR.
Yeah.
And you went, okay, so what's kind of like, give me the pros and cons of these. And I was like, oh, this one's the easiest one. This one's a little challenging. This one is extremely hard. And the extremely hard one was World's Smallest Violin, because there's that part of the song. First of all the chords are weird. But second of all, there's a part where it stops, full stops, and slows way down, and then starts doing like an accelerando and gets to be extremely fast.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches didn't think we could do that, by the way. And you told me, I want to do that one. I was like, that's the hardest one. You went, correct.
Yep.
And I texted Justin. I was like, Justin, Nick said he wants to do World's Smallest Violin, JR. Thoughts? And he texted me back, quote, hell yeah. So that was pretty cool. That was my first impression of you. And so I'm so thrilled that I get to work with you on a regular basis. Now, speaking of working with each other on a regular basis, how would you describe what it is like working with your coach?
Working with your coach. So, for me, with you, it's a fun experience because you're a energetic person, to the least.
To say the least.
That was very polite, thank you.
That's a good one.
But it depends what coach you have, really.
Interesting. So Nick, you are a consummate professional on the piano. I can always rely on you to have your material prepared. So when you joined my band, I was thrilled that you were going to be a part of the band. I can rely very heavily on you to do what I need to be done. What advice would you give to students who are just starting out in music or at Rockoutloud?
Probably the bands are really nice because they allow you to work with other people and like personalize your experience pretty much. So you can like talk with other people about what your opinions are on music.
And is there some special nebulous something that a beginner student might have to do to prepare themselves to be a part of a band? Some word perhaps starts with a P,
Piano.
rhymes with snacktus.
Practice.
Oh, interesting. What a concept. Wow. Good. Nick, we are roughly running out of time. Do you have anyone in your life that you would like to thank for helping you on your musical journey?
Probably my mom and my dad.
Mom and dad. Yeah. Yeah, your dad is the GOAT, man. Your mom's the GOAT too. Your parents are great. Like your dad carries, you have a giant keyboard amp.
Yeah.
I think is huge. Like I had a picture in my head of how big it was, and I truly was not prepared for how big it actually is. And your keyboard has like needs a special wire. I don't know where your dad got that, but he got it. Like that's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Neat. Man, I am so glad. You know you were the last member of the Foxtrot Fighters to be podcasted? We've now collected all of you.
Yeah, I did.
How exciting. Thrilling. So Nick, I have but one final question for you. I like to ask a special question to everyone as the last question of the podcast interview. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's not. Let's see how this goes. Did you practice for band this week?
A little bit.
A little bit. A little bit. Define a little bit for me.
Mainly just that one song.
Which one song?
New one.
Oh, the new one.
Yeah.
Good. That's what we needed to practice the most. Hurrah! Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you know what that is, but that is called a W. Nicholas practiced what I needed him to practice. Nicholas, you have been great. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. This has been the Rock Out Loud podcast series. This has been my clipboard, and this has been my very wonderful guest, Nicholas Loro. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you in the next one.